Our next question relates to employment. So I'm going to go back to Wahida for this one. And the question says, an employer rescinded an offer of employment right before I started work, but after I quit my previous job and my old position was filled. Am I entitled to notice pay and how much?
That's a great question, particularly now as people are being let go during this impending recession. It's very, very important that if you do have a stable job, that you are able to hang on to it. But to answer the question, the short answer is generally yes. I'm going to assume that this offer of employment was not one that was contingent on the clearance of things like criminal record checks or background checks, where it would then become a final offer, nor I'm going to assume was it a situation where the person lied on their job application or during interviews. So with those assumptions, yes, if the person has accepted an offer of employment, there is now a contract in place. And that employee is entitled to reasonable notice. In fact, there was a case, I want to say recently, but it was 3 years ago now. The courts had said, and I quote it, a valid employment contract creates an employment relationship even before any work begins. An employee is entitled to reasonable notice for breach of that contract and may sue for damages if appropriate notice is not given. So this is sort of similar to what I'd mentioned earlier about somebody who was working and then let go or laid off and was offered a severance package. So those similar factors will help determine how much notice they would be entitled to. Those factors, if you remember them from the first question, are primarily, not exclusively, how old the person is, the job role, the salary that's listed in their contract, and the availability of comparable employment. Also, similar to if the person had been terminated from a job they'd been working at, the principle of mitigation of damages applies. Mitigation essentially means that the person still has to look for new comparable work to reduce their damages or their losses, even if they wanted to go after their employer for withdrawing the offer prematurely.